sometimes I get a little passionate in my criticisms of Carrera, and I don't think I'm quite clear as to what set you should start with when you're starting a slot car. It is obviously going to be a digital set. I can't believe people are even trying to say, why are you people even trying to say anything else? I'm really legitimately, and I'm not being sarcastic here, I'm a little passionate. Don't take this as anger. I just want to understand why people are trying to tell other people to start with an analog slot car set. With a digital set, you can race up to 6 cars with Carrera's 132, or you could do 4 with Carrera's 124 digital systems. How expensive is it going to be to make a slot car track of analog? Like to make a 4-car track, I've done the math. It is a little bit more expensive to make a 4-laner, that an analog 4-laner versus a digital 4-laner, and it is quite a bit more expensive to make an analog 6-laner versus a digital 6-laner. Bear in mind, yes, I'm going to say this. I have not done scratch building. So if you're doing like a wood table, and to the people who are doing wood tables, I'd like to know, when you do your little calculations for your materials, are you including your labor too? Do minimum wage on your labor, and then please tell me how expensive it would be in total with labor to build a wooden slot car track versus using a plastic track. Like, these are things people who do the math on analog have such ridiculous numbers sometimes. I don't get how people are so blind. I remember in a forum once, there was a post saying, well, both of these sets have DMT cards, and you can see how much more expensive digital is. And I'm like, dude, the digital DMT card you're comparing has wireless controllers. Obviously, it's going to be more expensive. Go look at a set that has wired controllers. I think you'll find that digital is going to be much cheaper for the amount of track. Like, not much cheaper, but it's more expensive in the short term, but it saves you money in the long term, unless you're going to be buying a fleet of cars. There are people who have, these old people too, have walls of cars, right, analog cars, and they think they're not unbiased. You are biased. Can you, you need to understand, you can get an awesome road course made of plastic track, just 2 lanes, going all over the place, or you could get a simple, basic, offset figure 8 for your track. Like, is that really what you want? Now, I personally like having simpler tracks. But guess what? Even with this 4-lane track, I still prefer digital because I hate rotating lanes. You have to rotate lanes with analog. Even if both lanes are even, or all lanes are even, depending how many lanes you have, guess what? One lane's always be faster than the other. And when you get really gamey, like when you get really into it, you get enough practice, you're going to know which lane's the best one. And then someone's always racing at a slight disadvantage. I don't like that. I like that digital, even with my 4-laner, I like that I can switch lanes. I also like the pit lane function, which is the gas function. Love the fuel simulation. That's sick. Okay, just calm it down a bit. I will happily post some numbers for people if they'd like to see it, but roughly a 4-lane analog versus getting a digital track to be, if I said 4-lane digital track earlier, I'm sorry, I meant getting 4 cars to race on digital at once is roughly the same cost. I'm pretty sure the digital was actually a little bit cheaper. Getting a 6-lane, that's not even a contest. That's not, don't even try to start with me that a 6-lane analog track cheaper than digital. Like I said, I personally think if you really want to get into it, both the costs are about the same, okay? Probably about the same. But people, sorry, I'm just going all over the place here. People like to criticize there's just not enough choice with digital. Like, do you know how many, I race DM like 124, okay? I have the least choice of the slot of any slot car type, and I'll take 124 all the time. There are so many. The only thing 124s really don't have are street cars and Formula One. That's it. You got just as much choice in terms of like the different car bodies as analog. Okay, maybe that's not quite true, but you have a huge selection. That's all I'm trying to say. That's the best way to put it. There's a huge selection for 124. 124, and this is not going to be like a rant about 124. Again, I've already done that. But there's so much choice, and it's not like I can just buy a whole wall full of cars. Even if I do, I want to do it over time. You can get that wall full of varied cars with 124s, okay? Just so if you can do the 124 as the least selection, obviously you can do that with digital 132. You can. People want to say, oh, well, tech slots, digital box. Don't bring up tech slots. You don't need tech slots. Tech slots are for people who maybe you want to race HO, which I've already read that you don't want to do. But if for some reason you want to race HO, get the tech slots instead of buying AFX track. That could be a separate video. You know what? No, screw it. I'll do it now. AFX track kind of rusts, and you're much better off. It's honestly about the same cost to make a big AFX track as it is just to get the tech slots. Or if you maybe inherited some analog cars, because I agree, I don't want it shit. I can solder. I don't want to solder. Just give me the freaking car. Okay, so that rant's over. I'm just want to. I mean, seriously, guys, don't listen to people saying start with analog or analog's better because you can just race any brand or analog's cheaper. It really, no, it's not. It's not. And you're going to have plenty of selection with Carrera Digital. You could hunt for the older cars. I just sold my last blue Formula One for 132. If you're an adult and you're racing with your adult buddy, save up the extra money, get 124. I'm out.